Welcome back to episode 70, a special reaction episode. A lot of stuff is going down, and we're here to react to it. Obviously, last night, the Luka Doncic and Anthony Davis trade went down. There's also a lot of other stuff happening in the NBA. Unfortunately, nothing is going to compare to that. So we're going to delve right into it. I'm
Yes,
cutting to
sir.
the chase already. Anthony, is
Yeah.
there anything you want to talk about before we jump right in?
Yeah, man. We had thoughts on Jimmy Butler, De'Aaron Fox, Zach
Mhm.
LaVine, maybe Vucevic, all these all-star Jason level players. And then we wake up to the biggest trade. And we can talk about this too, but perhaps the biggest trade, I think, in NBA history in terms of talent for talent swap. This is fucking crazy, bro. Excuse my language, but this is nuts.
This is literally I was out last night at a party and I checked my phone. I was like, this is the shit I live for. Like honestly, I couldn't sleep all night. I was literally just thinking about this podcast. I was like, oh my God, like
I,
this is all I
Wait,
was able to think about.
this is perfect. Yeah. So this is almost one of those "where were you" moments. So where were you when you found out about this?
At someone's house party at like a
Oh,
friend's
nice.
place. And I was with multiple other people who've been on this podcast, including
Shout
Jason,
out.
who shout out,
Yep.
who we might be seeing more of soon.
Yes,
Um
sir.
and and like Miche, who is also on this podcast, Mark, etc. And like we saw the first tweet. Miche saw the first tweet, showed it to me, and then I was like, did he get hacked? Everyone saw that, and then we
Right.
immediately I pull out my phone. We both like are refreshing our phones, and we immediately see the like shams. Like no, like this is real. Um, yeah,
Right.
it's kind of crazy. What about you?
Um, dude, I actually had a lovely date night last night. So got home after a long day of just being out, and we passed out. I want to say around midnight. So the
Oh,
trade
you didn't
happened like
see it, so
20.
you.
The trade happened 25 minutes later. So I
Oh, so you
slept.
didn't see it last night. Oh my
Yeah.
God,
So
that's
for me,
crazy.
I woke up to like my dad, insane trade, Miche, dude, that's wild. Like group chats blowing
I
up,
texted
fantasy
you like
basketball
four
group
times.
chats.
I think I
Yeah, I
literally
saw
think I
your
texted you like
messages. Like, dude,
yeah.
Luka. I'm like, what the hell happened? Looked on ESPN, shot up out of my bed, and I had to go downstairs and just start like looking at everything. Look at what the
So
trade. It was crazy.
recapping the trade really quick, it was
Yes. Yeah.
Luka, Maxi Kleber,
Yep.
Markieff Morris, who were all sent to the Lakers from
Yep.
the Mavericks. Mavericks send a second round pick to the Jazz. The Jazz are just here to facilitate Jalen Hood-Schifino's contract. They take that on, a Clippers second in 2025 via the Lakers, a Mavericks second, and the Mavericks get Anthony Davis, Max Christie, and a 2029 Lakers first.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. First thoughts. Instant first thought was like Luke. My initial first thought was like Luka must have demanded a trade,
Hmm.
which instantly Mark Stein reports is not the case.
Yeah.
So then my second thought is like I think I like, and I think this is the case. Like I think for some reason Nico Harrison and the Mavericks just really wanted Anthony Davis. I think they've probably been trying to trade for Anthony Davis, and the Lakers were like, it's gonna take Luka, and then that's how it went. Like I can't, because even if you were trading Luka,
Hmm.
like you should get all the pieces the Lakers have. Like if you had just said, hey, we're selling Luka, we're looking for assets, it almost feels like they were negotiating for AD, and then the Mavericks were like, oh, what if we throw in Luka? And the Lakers were like, yeah, we'll give you a first too.
Yeah.
Like that's what it feels like. This is literally shock. This is jarring. I mean, this is a top three player who's 25.
25. Could
Yeah.
play for another uh, bar. Let's say he hops on the LeBron workout regimen, right? And that's one of the big concerns. Saw something that there was a rumor that he was weighing 270. I don't know who had that rumor, but I saw that floating around at the time. If he can get in playing shape, bro, the Lakers are set. Luka can be an all-time great. But to your point, this was not about the Lakers. This was about the Mavericks.
They had Luka. Also, who cares? What if he was 270? You just made the finals with him weighing 270.
Yeah.
You just like this is you make these trades, you get assets, you do everything in your power as a GM to put yourself in a spot to get someone like Luka, and then you figure
Yeah,
the rest out later.
yeah.
It's not like it's not vice versa. You don't get all the assets first and then try to find a Luka, you know. Um, and there's concerns about his contract and whatever. Pay the man.
Whatever,
Pay. Who
whatever.
cares, dude? Luca could tear his Achilles tomorrow, and I'd give him the super. Dude, the Warriors gave Klay Thompson a super max after a torn Achilles. Like the bar isn't that high to get re-signed at a max contract, and like if
Right.
Luca can't get it, what the hell is going on? By the way, this trade gets the Mavericks under the luxury tax.
Well, so there's some
New owner syndrome,
flexibility.
bro. New
Huh.
owners, bro. Cheap, cheap new owner. I don't know what they're doing. I don't know. I really, and it feels like Nico Harrison must hate Luca. But even if Nico Harrison hates Luca, he knows this trade is getting him fired or may get him fired. So like the owner, like if Mark Cuban's still the owner of the Mavericks, this trade's not going through.
Yeah, yeah. Um, yeah, man. I mean, I'm just shocked. Just like there's so many different angles we can take with this. Let's try to formulate where we should
Yeah,
go
sorry. I'm
first.
literally
Like,
just
no, yeah,
do you wanna start with just Luca? Like I think that's where we have to start. Like I think we
okay,
have to start at this is a player who came to Dallas via draft day trade for Trae Young,
yep,
and already
yep,
monumental player. EuroLeague MVP as 17-year-old, right? Like
yep,
rising star of the EuroLeague 2 years running, 16, 17-year-old comes to the league. We're like, we don't know how good he is. I think a lot of us also knew how good he was going to be.
yep,
Um, but a lot of the greater NBA doesn't feel like he's better than DeAndre Ayton, right?
yep,
Um, comes in, restores a franchise which was dependent on Dennis Smith Jr. in the post
yep,
Dirk era.
yep,
Um, he goes and he has crazy series against the Clippers. He has goes against the 60-win Suns,
beats them.
beats them in games, outscores them single-handedly in the first quarter,
Right.
knocks them out of the playoffs, takes
After
them
being down
Western
3-2.
after being down 3-2.
Yeah,
Western Conference Finals with a injury-prone team all around. Next season,
yep,
blow it up. They miss the playoffs. He doesn't. He sticks. It's fine. The season after that, with a whole new cast of characters, makes the finals. This
yep,
season, top five team in the West, probably better. Injury, and they've dealt with so many injuries. They also have lively young players, skilled player that you want around Luka Doncic. So they're
yep,
they're built now and built for the future.
yep,
And you trade him. He's given everything to your team for the last 5 years. And you trade him, and on the way out, you leak all these weight injury, these weight concerns and all that.
yeah,
Why don't just if you're gonna trade him like this, just trade him, man. He just had
yeah,
the best 7 year, maybe the best 7 year individual 7 year run to start a career I've ever seen.
yeah,
And you kick him on the way out, and you're gonna be terrible. This is the other thing the Mavericks don't realize. They did not get enough assets in this trade. They are going to be so average. And I think Anthony Davis is amazing. I think Kyrie is amazing. But you're never going to be back on the level that you were last year. And you did not get enough assets to make that make sense. And you kicked this guy on the way out to get under the luxury tax. What are we doing? What are we doing? And you didn't even shop him. What are we doing? Sorry. That's where I start with the Luka stuff.
no, man. I hear you. Rookie of the year came in averaging 21 points per game, five-time All-Star, five-time All-NBA first team. Obviously, those will not continue for this season due to injuries, but let's be honest, he would be right there again. Um, to your point, just beat the favorite in the West to go to the finals this year in the Thunder in 6 games while injured. Um, then gentleman sweeps the Timberwolves in the Western Conference Finals, who had just beaten the defending champion Nuggets. And then, let's face it, ran into a buzzsaw Celtics team that was just locked in on threes and defense and just knew how to tire them out. We get it. We have all seen the clips of Luka Doncic being a turnstile for the Celtics, how they just continue to attack him over and over and over again. It was a talent discrepancy. It was LeBron in 2015 going up against the Warriors. It's not, not the same exact analogy there, right? But a much more talented, well-balanced team in the Celtics and the Warriors against, kind of a one-man show. And yeah, you had Kyrie there too, but it was 2-on-5. Um, to your point, PJ Washington has taken an amazing step this year. Derek Lively is going to be a huge piece. And now Luka gets to go and potentially join the annals of Lakers greats, of Wilt, of Jerry, of Elgin, of Kareem, of Magic, of James Worthy, Shaq, of Kobe.
Kobe,
We'll
LeBron,
throw we'll throw LeBron in there, and I don't know about AD, but we'll throw in
Powell.
LeBron. Powell's great, and now Luka gets to be for the next 10 years. He gets to be the guy. And you're right. Like it was. They did this in the middle of the night. I think Brian Windhorst said this. They didn't offer up any auction. Can you imagine the return that the Mavs could have got if other teams knew that Luka was on the table? Can you imagine what? And that's the question, right? We talk about this as if we know better than the Dallas Mavericks organization. And sure, we've seen plenty of trades that have aged terribly, and everybody kind of knew it at that time. What is it about Luka Doncic that the Mavericks said this guy who is a generational talent, maybe probably the second most generational talent of this relative era after Wemby? What is it about this guy that we don't like? Is it the health concerns? Okay, he's been hurt a little bit, but he's relatively durable in general. Is it the weight? Because that's fixable. What is it about Luka Doncic that you want to get rid of? And Anthony Davis, to your point, is a great player. He's a top 10 player at worst, right?
Terrific player. Terrific player.
Terrific
Top
player.
75 player.
Top
In,
75. And I
in all
right.
time. Yeah.
And I threw this question to you earlier, and you preferred Anthony Edwards, but I said, which Anthony do you like more? And because I think that that's a legitimate question to ask. Um, I mean, he's 31, but he's still in his back end of his prime. And I think the Mavs will still be a good team. Like, don't get it twisted. They got to figure some other stuff out, but you still have a pretty deep team with the Mavericks. Yeah, man, this is just a crazy trade.
An unfathomable trade for the Mavericks. I literally cannot fathom it. They will be a good team, but you
Yeah,
play that you create good teams in hopes of someone
yeah,
rising to the occasion like a player that
yeah,
like Luka Doncic does.
yeah, yeah,
You make teams hoping that you can have a guy who's going to come in and score 30 a game against the Boston Celtics, but your only player is scoring above 20 a game because the rest of your team can't create any offense.
yeah,
And he's going to score 30 games against the Celtics. And you're going to lose in 5, but he's the only one showing up.
yeah.
You're going to trade him the year after.
And now what? If you're the Mavericks now what do? You have one creator in
And
Kyrie Irving.
and and asset wise, how are you not able to go get Reeves in this trade? How are you not able to get the 2028 and 2030 pick
Legit,
swaps from the Lakers? Like, how are you not
legit.
able to do that? Because um who the Lakers would have done it. Like, this is why it makes me I opened this section talking about I felt like the Mavericks fixated on AD, and that's the only thing I can think of if they made this trade, because how do you not even get more from the Lakers themselves? Like, like that's another like
Hmm.
it's crazy to me. It's really crazy. This is wild. And Luka, I think, deserved better than this, frankly. He's like been their face of the franchise for 7 years and dealt with some terrible teams and some terrible roster building and some terrible asset management, and has been able to cover up their horrible asset management for years. And now they just their tendency to have terrible asset management just reared its ugly head. And it's like, boom. They don't have their first round picks till 2020, till 2030. It's not like this, like they just got a first round pick back, but it's not like this team has their own first. This team can't be bad.
Yeah.
You know who has their 2028 first? Thunder. You know who has their 2030 first? The Spurs. It's like, you don't think you could have traded back? Like, if you're going to trade Luka, you weren't even able to get some of your picks back. That's why they must have fixated on Anthony Davis. That's why they must have just decided Anthony Davis is better than Luka Doncic. And it's like, That's what you think, man. All right, make that trade. You just and as a Warriors fan, it hurts me so much. I mean, Luka Doncic, I'm going to play him 4 times a year for the next 20 years, and it's going to suck.
Brutal.
Just like
Per yeah. No, per Nico Harrison, quote, I believe that getting an all defensive center and an all NBA player in AD with a defensive mindset gives us a better chance, quote, to win a championship. We're built now to win and in the future. No. Every 10 years, you have a basketball team that does not have a top 5 player that can lead you to a chip. It was last year with the Celtics. It was 10 years before that with the Spurs. It was 10 years before that with the
the
Pistons.
Pistons.
That's how it works. Like, we've seen this formula over and over. Every single other championship has had a top 5 ultimate. And like Jason Tatum, maybe you
Yes,
could say,
yes,
but Jason
yes.
Tatum, there's a question there.
Yeah.
And Luka Doncic is an obviously top 5 player in the NBA. And you have a high floor. You will make the playoffs for the next 4 or 5 years. Sure. Congratulations. Maybe. Because
Probably not. Probably not.
80's 31. So
Kyrie's going to be 36 and AD is going to be 36 by
yeah,
the end of their contracts.
yeah. So you need to win now. And then the question is, are you going to make another trade? Because what are you going to do with your front court? Because you have AD, you have Gafford, you have Lively, and you have PJ Washington. And PJ Washington, I mean, how does he shoot from 3? Because like they're just not now. What's their shooting situation? You have Clay. I don't know what should we talk Mavs now?
Yeah, I mean, you got Jaden Hardy, and dude, you got Jaden Hardy. You got
You've had Jaden Hardy.
Yeah,
You've had
Dante
Jaden Hardy.
Exum just came back from injury. You got Kyrie Irving. No, I mean, no, this is irresponsible. I don't even there's no basketball reason. This can't be a basketball reason because you also have your big setup already. We've seen that your big setup is good. Your big setup that Mavericks have, their 2 big setup, it was good enough to beat teams that beat Nikola Jokic, to beat teams with Karl Anthony Towns and Gobert. Like, I can't believe it. You were good. You just made the finals.
Yeah.
You literally were like, how do you not give this team a chance to defend its Western Conference Western Conference title? How do you not give them a chance to especially when they're good? They're good. Every underlying staff from this team is very good. They've had crazy injuries and they're still totally fine in the standings. They're not gonna be a top 2 seed. Who cares? They didn't need to be a top 2 seed last year. This is like a irresponsible. Like, what is happening between this and the Towns trade? What is going on in the NBA? I think people are so scared of getting leaked that they don't even want to shop Luka. They would rather take an L on Luka than shop him across the league. What is that? That's bad business from an executive, from a guy who used to be an executive at Nike. That's bad business. How do you not leverage those other trade offers to get more from the Lakers, who would have given you more? I'm sorry. Now I'm just ranting. I can't. This is insane. This is literally Luka Doncic, who is a generation. I argued when the top 75 thing was going on a few years ago that we almost should have put him in.
Yeah, remember when they put like Shaq?
Yeah, when they did Shaq in the top 50. I said that.
Yeah.
I was like, maybe we should think about putting him in.
Yeah.
Over AD.
Yeah.
And that was 4 years ago.
You know what, bro?
20.
On that thought, this is such a great example of how I'm going to make this a society commentary, but in society now, we're so focused on the right now instant gratification. And to your point, the fear of having Luka being talked about in rumors, of kind of having his name out there, he didn't want to deal with that. He just wanted a quick trade. He wanted to be over with this and then move on to the next thing. But you could have had a much bigger haul coming back in. Look 5 years in the future. Like, what do you want with this team? You could have got, to your point, you could have got more picks. You probably could have gone out there and demanded another A-list star coming from a different team that was younger. You had a lot of options here. And the Mavs, I mean, AD's a great player, but this doesn't put them over the top anymore. And it's, would they have been a finals contender this year? I do not know.
And whatever gun Luka had you at, whatever gunpoint Luka had you at with his contract situation coming up, and they were gonna have to pay him basically 70 million a year. They was gonna have to sign a 5 year extension this coming off season. It's gonna be about 70 million a year. It's a lot of money, man. AD is getting paid a lot for the next 3 years, and then now you're gonna have to extend him because you traded Luka for him. Like that's the other side. Like you just gave yourself a PR nightmare on the back end when you give Anthony Davis 50 million and he's 36
Right.
because you have to. Like, um and I see all the worries about the money stuff, the 70 million, etc. The cap is going up. You sign this thing by 2030, he's not even going to be a top 5 paid player in the league. Like um so it's unfathomable. The Lakers, can I give a Lakers angle on this now?
Should we move over to the Lakers?
I mean, I don't have much to say on the Mavericks. This is I just everything I had to say, I think I've
I
said.
think we
I'm just
said,
bashing
yeah,
them. I'm just
yeah,
bashing.
we said a lot.
Yeah. And they're gonna be good. They're gonna be good. They might
They
win
will
one
be good.
series. They might win one series, but like
Yeah, let's
whatever
do the
whatever
Lakers.
whatever ceiling you thought you had in Dallas, it's definitely capped off.
The ball?
Yeah. All right,
Okay.
Lakers. I mean, this season, I'm gonna be honest, this season, I don't if you're the Lakers, you take this deal, you don't care about this season, and guess what? They're gonna be pretty damn good this season with Luka. Um, like you said, it's just continuing the star collective and trend. And I feel bad for Luka because also he's on a team with no assets now. Like I really wish Luka had a chance to like be on a team that like it's not a team like SGA, right? Like he's gonna have to do a lot of carrying over the next 5 to 6 years. But if you're the Lakers, it doesn't matter, man. You just got Luka in the door. Figure the rest out later. They're gonna be good this year. They're gonna be better than they were pre-trade, in my opinion. I mean, I know this the who's playing center. We don't know. I don't think it matters that much. Like you got Luka, you got LeBron. They'll figure it out. JJ Redick's
Hmm.
played with Luka. JJ Redick's gonna know how to coach that type of guy. I mean, they literally spent like 2 years together in Dallas, if I remember correctly. So
Hmm. Yeah,
this
I
is a huge
mean,
win. This is amazing for the Lakers. This is a heist. This is a heist
yeah,
if you're Lakers. If you
yeah.
can start trading your swap, if I would have some. If you would trade your 2028 swaps for a Nick Richards type guy who's or a little bit better, now your team's pretty good
Hmm.
this year. Like I don't
Yeah.
know, and I wouldn't do that. That's the other side. I wouldn't sacrifice more for their assets now.
I wonder how much of this has to do with, can you get LeBron one more ring or one more shot at a ring before he retires? Or how much of this is like, because if the idea is we're done with the LeBron AD era, then why don't you trade LeBron too?
Okay, that's a great question. I think that is totally on the cards. I think that is totally on the cards.
And
We heard,
this might
remember last deadline, we got
we
full
heard it.
reports that the Warriors and Lakers are on the phone,
Right.
for example. Like
Yeah.
that's not, and now he has no leverage. Now LeBron has no leverage too. It's like you don't have to extend LeBron every year because he's like on a 1-and-1 contract or whatever. You don't have to
Hmm.
give him the $50 million every year that he asked for because we got Luka. You're not the best player on our team, LeBron.
Yeah. Hmm. This
I would
is
be
we
fascinated. I'd be fascinated. LeBron getting traded would be electric. I think it's
bro,
totally on the cards. I would be surprised, but I think it's totally on the cards.
we might have a few emergency podcasts that we have to hop on this week. We
Yeah,
got to clear our
seriously.
schedules. Um, because this went from being one of the quietest trade deadlines to now the loudest with one trade, with one trade in NBA history, quietest
Oh,
trade deadline. I mean, I was looking up some stuff, and we will circle back to the Lakers. I was looking up some like recent off-season or sorry, mid-season trades, and I mean, it's Harden to Brooklyn in 2021, uh, KD to Phoenix, and I think another one not as big profile, but Boogie Cousins to New Orleans in 2017 before the All Star break.
that's a great. He was really good too.
And he was really
He
good.
was an all NBA player there.
Right. This is the first ever two reigning All NBA players swapped for one another. I
Oh, really?
saw in NBA history, which is pretty
That's
cool.
a great stat. No, I literally okay. Now we can talk history, I guess. I think this is the biggest trade ever. The Paul George SGA Kawhi trade is arguably bigger, but the thing is that it's hard to like the Kawhi thing is not technically baked into that.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, it's its own thing.
Also, no one has rings. No one has rings or finals appearances on any of the teams involved in that trade.
Yeah.
AD has a ring with the
Has a
Lakers.
Luka has
Luka has a finals appearance.
finals appearance.
Um, so even if we do factor in Kawhi, like that's the thing. Um, Kawhi had just won a championship, so if we do factor in
Yeah.
him, that's a little tough too. But I think this is the biggest trade ever. I think there is an argument for like you can impact wise. There's some other trades like the obviously the Celtics trading like for Parrish and
Like Kevin
McHale,
Garnett.
and that's
Oh yeah.
yeah, like that's
Yeah.
two Hall of Fame players involved in the same trade,
But
or
not
you know,
not at their peak though, you know?
yeah, that
Like
was like
this
young
is
versions of them. That was
yeah.
like young, yeah. So this is really yeah, it's the biggest trade ever, man.
This is the peak. The other ones I looked up and kind of found was Kareem in 1975, who was an MVP to the Lakers from the Bucks. Wilt in 1965, who was the peak of his powers.
They didn't
Barkley
get
in
anything.
92.
The Bucks barely got anything in that Kareem trade though, right?
Right.
If I
Well,
remember
yeah, this is these are more like none of these have another great player going back. These are all
yeah.
Kareem, Wilt, Charles Barkley to the Suns in 92, and then KG to the Celtics in 2007 are some of the big ones.
Which Wilt was that the six? Was that
65.
when he went
Um,
from the Warriors to the 76ers? Was that when he went from the 76ers to the Lakers? Because if I
uh,
remember correctly, I will say I'm pretty sure that haul that the Warriors got for Wilt ended up being the haul that kind of propelled them to a championship and actually playing the 76ers as a championship, if I remember correctly.
they traded Chamberlain to Philadelphia for uh, three guys I've never heard of in cash.
Damn, maybe
But
not then.
Will was 28 years old and it led the NBA in scoring in each of his last five seasons when it happened. Um,
I mean, it's still not. It's not Anthony Davis with Luka. This is
no,
absurd. I mean, if I mean, we'll see if Luka wins a chip with LA, which I think is probably on the cards and probably will happen. Frankly, I think Luka's that good. Then this becomes undoubtedly the biggest trade of all time, but this already probably is, I think.
yeah, yeah. Um, no, this broke the internet, man. This broke the internet. This is
I
insane. Um,
um other things. Uh, LeBron just now. Chris Haynes reported that LeBron will be staying with the Lakers past the deadline.
okay.
Um, so that takes that out.
You just saw that?
Yeah, Chris Haynes like 5 minutes ago. Um,
So maybe a smaller move comes into play.
Maybe they just don't make them. Honestly, if you're the Lakers, I think the Lakers are probably like, we made all the moves we thought we were gonna make, and then this fell into our lap.
Yeah.
And we're gonna do. If I'm the Lakers now, I'm not tweaking. I'm waiting. I'm not making any short-term trades. I have Luka. Now any trade I have, LeBron's great and all. And you said this earlier. It's like I wonder if LeBron factored into this trade at all. I don't think so. I think they had an opportunity at Luka. I think they're just
Yeah.
like bet.
Yeah.
They're just like this fell into our lap. And now
Yeah.
every decision, not like every decision before this was kind of centered around LeBron, but they were already in a power struggle against LeBron. Now every decision is based around Luka Doncic. And how are we going to get him a chip? Because whether Lakers fans and the NBA fans want to hear it or not, this Lakers team was not going anywhere. This
No,
Lakers
of
team was
course.
cooked.
They
They
were so
were
close.
mid.
Yeah.
And this
It,
is just an unfathomable reinvention of their situation.
so let's do a little bit of crystal ballism. The Lakers right now are um they're the fifth seed. They're a game behind of the Nuggets. Oh my Lord, if they face the Nuggets again in the first round. Um, but now this would be sick. So they're 28 and 19. They have one they are 8 and 2 in their last 10 games. So they're playing pretty well of late. They I mean they beat the Knicks pretty in a pretty dominant, not dominant fashion, but in a statement win last night, and LeBron played well. So what does this lineup look like? You have Reeves and Luka as your guards, DFS as your three, and then like Rui and
Van,
LeBron. I mean, it's
you're
going to be
playing
small.
you're playing Vando at center. You're
Yeah, you play.
playing Jackson Hayes when he comes back
Yeah,
from injury. You got what Christian Coloco, who had a
yep.
heart blood clot surgery like a year ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not
And he's
looking great, but
yeah.
if anyone gets cut though, they go straight to the Lakers. If you're a big man, you get cut, you get 30 minutes a game on the Lakers. So there's that.
Yeah.
And yeah,
So so I mean,
I can't believe it. The Lakers already fit like they're a good team already. So this is gonna be spicy.
if the Lakers fall into like the sixth seed, they're playing the Houston or Memphis in the first round. You
And
could
then
win
they're
that.
playing Houston or Memphis in the second
It's in
round.
the second round. You could win that. And then you're in the conference finals against a young OKC or a Denver, which Denver with LeBron and AD, that felt like cookies, but this is Luka Doncic.
Yeah, and it's like one of those where it's like technically, I think like on paper their team is like technically worse like in the short term, but if they can figure out a big spot, their ceiling is just way higher, like way,
Bro.
way, way higher. Like don't get me wrong, like in the short term, it's not gonna be pretty. Like you're gonna get
Yeah.
Dorian Finney-Smith at center and LeBron James at
Yeah.
center
Yeah.
defensively, and it's gonna be tough.
Yeah.
But if they can figure out that center spot at all, boom, you're chilling.
Yeah.
You're chilling. Then you're in a great spot because you can go so small. LeBron at the four, Luka at the one, Reeves flanking. Then you just have DFS and Vando just coming in as defensive specialists. I mean, they're going to be awful defensively, right? But like they'll be fun. They're not winning a chip in the short term, but like they're going to be fun and they're going to be pretty good.
I mean they definitely improve the odds of winning.
And Luka's supposed to be back next
Which
week. Like Luka's not hurt long term.
he'll be back before the All-Star break. This is an unbelievable this is an unbelievable move.
I can't believe Luka's going to be on the Lakers for the rest of his career, man. He'll be there for the rest of his career.
So who? I mean, that's the question, right? So I had one more Mavs question, but we can kind of do both. Like, what? Neither of these teams are complete right now. I think they have like almost inverse problems where the Mavs have too much size and not enough like offensive production scoring outside of Kyrie, and the Lakers have a lot of incredible offensive production scoring, but not a lot of size. And what do you do with their defense? At least in the interior. So who's a guy that like could? Who's
I don't think
for,
Dallas
for
is
the
buying. I don't think Dallas is buying. But Dallas says they're win now. They're not. They don't make this trade if they're win now. I think they're lying. I think they're trying to appease their fans, and I think they're lying. That's my first thought. Okay, like now push that aside.
yeah
It's like PJ Washington and a first for like you want a small forward creator because you already have Kyrie's small guard. I mean,
yeah
you need a guard too, though. Like now you need. That's the
you
thing.
need a
Like
guard
you
and
need
you
a
have
guard.
Clay. You already have a
This team was
38%
this team was
shooter.
built perfectly around. Like they kind of need a shooting guard. Like they kind of need a really a play. They
They
kind of need like Zach LaVine. Like like. But they don't have the
oh
salaries. These are all fake trades. They don't have the salaries for
mm,
this.
yeah
They're
Zach
they're
LaVine.
gonna have to trade five different guys. Like they don't want to buy. This is the like yeah they I'm trying to like Jalen Green. You could get Jalen Green because he's not making that much. But like you're gonna go get Cam Thomas.
You could get Cam Thomas, who comes back in late February.
See, that would be fun. Like that would be an awesome fit for everyone involved. But like, are the Nets aren't giving you Cam? Like, what are you're gonna give up like three firsts for Cam Thomas right now? Like that's what
Right,
it's probably gonna take to get him out of Brooklyn.
right.
So that's the thing. And also again, you don't make this trade. You don't make this trade for buying. They said they're winning now. You don't make this trade for buying. You just added assets. You added AD in first. Like doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense at all.
But you have to win now. You're not here to blow this team up. You are here. I mean, that's per their GM. They're here to win now.
Yeah, you're here to. I mean, they're here to be the Bulls. They're here to get under the luxury tax. This is what this. I think this is over the course of this podcast was like. I think my take. I think they're here. They didn't like Luka. They want to get under the luxury tax, and they thought they could be pretty good with this team. It's like the Clippers model right now. If I was a
Oh,
Mavericks fan, I'd be losing my mind. I'd be losing my mind because that's the thing. As much as sometimes the Warriors front office can bother me and piss me off, like Steph Curry not going to trade. Steph Curry's not getting traded.
I
I
mean,
hope.
so what? I mean, because on that note, what are a lot of the teams in the West going to do with this trade? Because now you have the Lakers, who are primed to be a great team for. I mean, the Warriors, you got to be looking at the wall saying, we definitely don't have options now. What do
Well,
we do?
I don't think the thing is that this trade was so isolated. I will say it's not like the Lakers were in on any big players at the deadline. It's not like the Mavericks were in on any big players. So like Zach LaVine is if Zach LaVine was going to go to the Warriors, he probably still goes to the Warriors. Like, if Jimmy Butler was going to go to the Pelicans, like, yeah, that's a bad example. If Jimmy Butler was going to go to the Grizzlies, he'd probably still go to the Grizzlies, I think. So that's kind of what I'm curious about. You have to think a Fox Spurs trade gets done, right? Um,
Yeah, but to your point, that would
which
happen
we haven't covered, by the way. The Fox stuff we
irrespective.
haven't.
Oh yeah, I mean, well, okay, well let's see if there's is there anything else on this kind of Luka AD trade before we move to
Mind
what we are going to talk about
boggling.
today. It's yeah,
Mind boggling. It is crazy. This is the craziest. This is nuts. This
the
is
biggest trade.
insane.
This is the biggest trade in NBA history.
And to be clear, I think this is absolutely irresponsible, terrible trade by Dallas. By the way, just so I got my opinion on the record. Um, but that said, I love it. Thank you, Dallas, for doing the trade because this is spicy. This is elite
Thank you for
spiciness. So
thank
yeah,
you for the content.
no, seriously,
Yeah,
thank you,
thank you
Dallas.
guys. Appreciate it.
I wouldn't want to be a
Um,
fan of the Mavericks right now, but thank you, management, for the content for the rest of us.
one of my friends, she's a Mavs fan, and she is down horrendous at the moment. Um, and yeah, I feel for her. I mean, let's look at this lineup one more time. The Mavs depth chart. Okay,
Kyrie, Clay,
so
PJ Washington, AD, Gafford.
it's not bad.
It's
Spencer
it's
Dinwiddie, Max
I think it's
Christie,
pretty
Don
bad.
Dixon.
I think
I
it's
don't
pretty
think
bad. You don't have
that's not a that's,
how are you getting to like you get 10 points a game from Kyrie, 30 points a game for AD, so that's 50. You get 10 from Clay, you get 10 from PJ. You get that's like 70 points. Where are you getting the rest of the 30 points? Like how is this team scoring
wait.
100 points?
Wait, no. PJ was averaging like 14. Clay was averaging like 14.
Okay.
So
14 then
28.
third so
So
28 plus 30 plus like if we say Kyrie and AD average about 50
like yeah. So
plus
that's
that's 80 plus Gafford
80.
and Lively. Like we're getting to like 95. Like this team is like
And
I
then the
think
bench.
gonna I think this team is gonna be pretty mid. And they're because like unless Jaden Hardy all of a sudden is like really like you know
Or Najee Marshall comes back and does his random November, December tear.
that said they will be very good defensively. The guard slots will be very poor defensively, but
Yeah.
they'll have enough wing and big depth to make
Yeah.
up for it, to be honest. I mean, AD himself is a defensive juggernaut, right? Like let's be totally clear about it.
Yeah, of
So
course.
they will be one of the better defensive teams in the West.
Yeah.
But that's all
Um
I got. But they don't got Luka. So
they don't have yeah. 70 cents on the dollar. 60 cents on the dollar.
they're
That's
20,
crazy. 20
20.
cents on the dollar. Based on age, yeah, 20 cents on the dollar. 80 was younger. Yeah, talk about
Crazy,
this.
man.
Um, that is nuts. Yeah, anything else on this on this trade? We'll move on to some
That's all I got. Insane. I
smaller
mean, we'll
trades.
talk more about it. This is going to be there'll be more and more news about this trade and surrounding information, like as we go, honestly.
Yeah. All right, should we move on?
Yeah, we have to talk about Fox. We haven't had a chance to talk about Fox, but obviously big rumors coming out from Shams right after our last
Yep.
podcast. But basically that he is looking to be traded. Fox and his agent like disputed this, but every other person is reporting it. Apparently his preferred destinations like Miami, Houston, San Antonio. Um, Funny turn of events for a team that just fired their coach without telling Fox, from what I understand, like 2 weeks
Mhm.
ago. And honestly, pretty predictable. I think this could have this you could read the tea leaves. Him not signing the extension was already you could read the tea leaves. So
Um, Yeah. So assuming this happens, uh, where do we think should we just play this game of what each of these trades would look like if it's Miami, Houston, San Antonio?
Yeah, so I mean, Houston is really easy. It's Van Fleet, it's
Yeah.
Tari, or Van Fleet, two of the young players, whether it's like Shepard, Tari, Whitmore, like
Yeah.
figure it out, Jabari. For Fox, and then like a salary filler, so like the Trey Lyles. And then Houston gives up first. They have extra first. That's a pretty easy trade. The thing is, Houston at that point, they're kind of rocking out with like a lot of ball dominant players or players who kind of want the ball in weird ways, like Amen Thompson and Jalen Green and Şengün and Fox. But then they're really good, right? Um, unless they want to trade Jalen Green, but I don't think so.
Well, that was going to be the question. Do you want to get rid of Jalen Green and then
They just
not
give
have
him the
two ball dominant guards, and then you
give
can
him
make
the
the
huge
salaries work?
extension. Yeah, maybe they just give him the huge extension though, and at that point, like
But
I don't
did
know.
they give him that extension with not knowing that De'Aaron Fox was going to become available? Because don't you go for De'Aaron Fox here?
I mean, yeah, but how much more value? Like, does Sacramento want to take on Jalen Green for 30 million?
Well,
Like,
that is
does
the
if you're
issue.
Sacramento, would I rather just have Van Fleet's expiring and then like Whitmore, Shepard, and Jabari? You know, like,
Hmm.
and if I'm Sacramento, I want picks. This is the thing. If I'm Sacramento, I'm trading Fox. I have a lot of good players already in Sacramento, right? Like, I just want picks. I think that's the move. But
Yeah,
we'll see. I mean, that's all theoretical. I think both of those routes are totally plausible. Both the Jalen Green route and not the Jalen Green route. But I think
yeah.
the biggest links we've seen is San Antonio, and that makes a lot of sense because they have expiring contracts, whether that's like Harrison Barnes, the CB3, or Harrison Barnes, I think has 2 years left. CB3, they have guys like Zach Collins, they have contracts like Keldon Johnson, and then they have young players like Castle and then maybe Vassell. Um, San
I
Antonio
think
also has a lot of
Castle's.
picks.
I think San Antonio said that. I mean, teams say something and then other things happen, but they said that Castle's off the table for Fox.
Yeah, I mean
But
that
who
doesn't
knows?
surprise me, but like
Um,
if it comes down to it, like if Sacramento calls San Antonio, is like it's gonna take Castle in one first. Like depending, like we'll see where like what's the how many first round picks do you have to add to not have to include? Like, would you rather trade six first and the expiring contracts, or would you rather trade one first Castle and the expiring contracts? It's like
hmm.
when we're getting into the bidding war like that. I don't know.
Or
And then it's
yeah.
all a lot of it's gonna also just come down to Sacramento. If Sacramento wants young players, they're gonna probably take Houston's trade, and if they want picks, they'll probably take San Antonio's trade.
I mean, it is Groundhog's Day, and it feels like every year the Sacramento Kings do some dumb shit. So maybe you offer Vassell and Keldon Johnson and a pick or two, and I mean, do some other contract stuff to make that work. And they go, yeah, sure, this is enough. These guys are well enough established, even though they're young, that it's like a combination of solid young talent, and we can stay relatively competitive. And they
That'd be
fool themselves
crazy.
into that.
I mean, yeah, if they value Keldon and Vassell, maybe that'd
Mhm.
be crazy. I really like Keldon though. I mean, I really like Vassell. If they're able to like
Yeah.
do like a core situation like Fox, Castle, Vassell, Wemby, and then you just have first to figure out like who's the next front court player, or maybe use those first to trade for Zion. Like just um, but like I don't know. That's super fun. I hope the thing is though, I just don't know if I want San Antonio to rush their situation. I want Houston to rush their situation a little bit more because they're good. I mean, Houston's second in the West, right? Like
Yeah.
if Houston got Fox, like now we're talking. If you swap Van Fleet for Fox, now we're talking.
Can you imagine Fox and Amen Thompson playing together? Oh my Lord.
We need to talk about him, man. That guy is insane. That guy is
I know.
ridiculous. Literally one of my favorite players to watch right now.
He's gotten better since we last talked about him in the last pod.
Yeah. Is he the most valuable player on that team? I think so. If Sacramento says we'll trade Fox 1-for-1 for Şengün, or you trade 1-for-1 for uh, Thompson. First of all, I think the Rockets say no to both, but
Yeah.
I think the Rockets would be less inclined to trade him and Thompson than Şengün at this point in time.
Mm. Well, there's also the um the ceiling factor with Amen Thompson that
Exactly.
we don't know what that's going to be. And if he can find a jump shot, forget
Doesn't
about it. But
doesn't even need it.
I
He's winning games against the Celtics without it.
yes, seriously.
Crazy.
I think yeah. I mean, to your point though, I think this isn't an either or conversation. You need to keep both of those players. You need to keep both of those young players
Yeah, 100%.
in Sengun and Thompson. You have to. Like this he's is he the best second best player in that draft class now after Wemby? Like
Yes.
bar none, right?
Yeah. He's better than Brandon Miller.
Yeah.
Who else in that draft? Bilal.
Um,
Bilal Coulibaly.
please. Um, see. Um,
Oh,
I went to the
Chet wasn't even in that draft, actually.
no, yeah, yeah. That's why we're not. Um, yeah. I mean, yeah, he's better than Lively, better than Jaime, better than Pods. Yeah, yeah. There's nothing. There's yeah. He is the second best player, far and away. Golly.
Crazy. It's
Uh,
honestly, so like, I'd love to see him in Houston. I'd actually rather see him in Houston than San Antonio, I think.
and if he were to be in San Antonio, that would be cool. Um, okay, so Miami, how would that look?
A lot of firsts. I don't know. Miami's got to trade for someone for before I'm back in the convo. Does Miami, if you're trading away Jimmy Butler, are you trading for De'Aaron Fox? I mean, maybe that's the route. Maybe you're taking Jimmy Butler assets and trading and turning it into Fox. But like,
Yeah, I mean, they clearly don't see a future with Jimmy Butler anymore.
yeah, I just like
Uh,
I don't know how good. I don't know. I don't know if the Heat are willing to mortgage a ton to go get Fox compared to some of the other teams. Like, I don't know. Like, because if you trade, like, what's your team? You have Fox, Hero, Bam, and then you won't have any more assets probably for Miami. You already
and
don't have many.
we're assuming you can keep Colbert.
Yeah. Let's just
Yeah,
assume you can. But
yeah,
that is a pretty good team actually. But like,
yeah.
I just don't. I don't see them being willing to
So,
mortgage enough of their future compared to like because they don't have the assets compared to like Houston, San
mm.
Antonio. Like because they don't
By the
even have
way,
their first for the next 2 years.
Miami does not.
Yeah,
Mm.
or it's
So,
like
I mean,
lottery protected.
so you're kind of like middle of the pack for a while. By the
Yeah,
way, speaking of which, did you see two of these teams we just chatted about, Miami and San Antonio? They played last night, and Bam hit a buzzer beater.
I did not see that actually. I
Yeah,
was honestly literally just encapsulated by the trade.
yeah.
Yeah,
I think it was like 11:30 or something like
hmm.
that, and that was the last thing I looked at before I went to sleep. I was like, wow, Bam Adebayo, great jump shot from like the elbow with like yeah with no time left on the clock, and they won by two.
Yeah.
Um,
Anything
yeah,
else? Any other trade stuff? Any like that's all I got on Fox. Honestly, I kind of
I mean, we kind of alluded
expected it.
to we kind of alluded to him, but with Jimmy Butler. Um, I put a bit of a like a saga here. So I think there's a few interesting notes to this. With one with Pat Riley's role in this, where I feel like we've seen this before, where he's kind of shoehorned guys out of the team. Most importantly, LeBron, who for whatever reason he was like, "All right, see ya," which was crazy when you say goodbye to the best player in the league. Um, very Mavericks-esque, honestly, in a way. And then, of course, D Wade in 2016, I think, even though he was not nearly as good. But in this saga, it's interesting. I mean, it started potentially before the last playoffs, where Jimmy Butler got hurt in that play-in game against the Sixers, and he lost in five of the Celtics. And he said that they would have won with him there. And Riley said, if you're not on the court playing against Boston or on the court playing against the New York Knicks, you should keep your mouth shut. And then there's more back and forth. And this past January, Butler admitted that he had lost his joy as a player. January 3rd, the Heat gave Butler a 7-game suspension due to detrimental conduct. And then last week, they gave him indefinite suspension after he walks out of practice. Um, so this has been a pretty tumultuous last year and a half. Um, After an unbelievably successful 5 years that nobody could have predicted that the Heat were going to be as successful as they were.
Yeah. I mean, this is pretty. It's also like I understand both sides. I know why Miami doesn't want to extend him. He's old. He's not
Yeah,
necessarily a player I could see aging incredibly well, and he wants a lot of money. So if you're
yeah,
Miami, I get it, and if you're Jimmy, I get it too. It's like, yeah, I've been hauling ass for like 4 years. You never traded for any help, and then you were not going to give me my extension. Get me the hell out of here to a team that will.
yeah.
So I kind of get both sides. It's like tough. I just don't know what the suitors are. I kind of anticipate that he. Do you remember when Kyrie got traded for like a first, Spencer Dinwiddie, and something else? Like to
To
when he,
the
it was
Mavs.
literally, yeah, it was like DFS, Dinwiddie,
Yeah,
and a first. It was like that
yeah,
was it. And it's I
yeah.
think I could see this Jimmy Butler trade being similar. I mean, Kyrie was in a similar situation where he's going to expire soon. It had a weird off the court sitch, right? I think Jimmy Butler is going to go for just as cheap.
Mm. And probably more due to the age and history and injury concerns, I think, than the
Yeah, yeah. Then the off the court
Kyrie
stuff.
very specific off the court stuff.
I mean,
Um,
get your vaccine, bro.
yeah, just get that vax or get a card, whatever.
Yeah,
Um,
get a fake one.
yeah, yeah, legit to do something. Yeah, I don't know. So like,
You
what?
think the NBA was like antigen testing them like to make sure that they had like the vaccine antigens in their system?
That's crazy if they were. That feels like a violation of
Probably not.
privacy.
I feel like no. I mean, they can violate the hell out of the player's privacy. It don't matter.
Huh.
They know
Yeah.
HIPAA when the league is paying for all your healthcare.
Yeah, yeah, that's facts. And it's their private employer, so they
Yeah,
get to say these are our rules. If you want
yeah.
to,
If you want to make
but
50 million a year.
yeah, if you want to, this is the small price you have to pay.
Yeah.
Um, but I guess if you're Kyrie and you think that vaccines are gonna kill you or give you a diagnosis of autism, then and you don't want to be like Scotty Barnes, you don't take that vaccine. So,
Bro's
um,
hyped about the Senate hearings this week. That's all I want to say on the Kyrie stuff.
yeah, that's crazy.
But yeah, no, I think they're definitely it's definitely totally a different situation where like Jimmy Butler is like much more of an age thing, and I
Yeah,
think yeah, I think in the end, I don't think he's gonna get traded for much, which actually might be kind of fun for whoever gets Jimmy Butler because they might be actually kind of good this year because I don't think
yeah.
no one's gonna have to give up that much like to get him. Like the Warriors are gonna
So
have to give up contracts and like a
yeah,
pick if they go get Jimmy Butler.
right. So who does go for him? Who are the teams that would make sense here? If we're
I mean,
assuming that it's not a really good player De'Aaron Fox situation, leaving and being supplanted by Jimmy.
dude, there's like a fun sitch where it's like he goes back to Minnesota. But that's not gonna happen. Like in a Randall type trade, like
Oh, I did see
to
that.
my problem for your problem. But that's not. I don't. That's
Right.
just not gonna
You
happen
get
in my
you get
opinion.
both of Michael Jordan's kids on the same team.
Yeah, but I mean, honestly, I just can't. I can't see that happening. The Warriors is just everyone's linked to them right now.
Yeah. They're,
I like the thing is like Jimmy on Houston would be fun, but now that Fox is out there, if you're Houston, I'm going at Fox first. Like
yeah.
so, I think a lot of I think Jimmy will end up being the like kind of how the way DeRozan was like the like forgotten prize of this season. I think Jimmy might
Yeah.
end up kind of being the forgotten prize of
Well,
this trade
yeah.
deadline season, depending on how things
Everybody
go.
is now.
Yeah,
Everybody's now the forgotten.
100%.
Do you go with does Memphis make a move here?
Did you see that report that he doesn't want to go to Memphis? It's
I
so
did
dumb. I
see
would
that
love to. I'd
report.
love the fit. I love the fit. It would be next to a guy like JJJ would be really good.
Yeah.
Stretches the floor on offense and JJJ, right? I really like the
And
fit. That
they
would, you know.
right. And the Heat and the Grizzlies both have this unique ability, much like a few other teams to, well, I guess so it's not that unique, but like a select few other teams that are able to take these back end of the first round players and turn them into really, really good players.
Yeah,
So
just
if you can get some
contract wise, it's
contract
a
stuff,
little weird. Yeah, contract wise, it's a little weird. You have to you're doing like
what do you mean?
Kennard, Clark,
Marcus
and then like
Smart?
other smart, yeah, smart Kennard, Clark, and someone, and then your
Yeah.
first. You know, you're giving up a
Yeah.
lot. But if I'm the Grizzlies, that's fine. I already have too many guys.
Yeah.
I need to
Yeah.
consolidate at this point because I'm gonna trade those guys and still have Huff, Scotty Barnes Jr., Gigi Jackson,
Jalen,
Vince Williams, etc. Like
Jalen
I'm still
Wells.
Jalen. Like I'm still gonna have everyone, right? So it's like if I'm Memphis, I'd really love that trade. That's kind of
Yeah.
that one makes the most sense, and I think he'd fit the attitude. I think he'd be really good. Like
Yeah,
that makes a lot of sense to me.
I
But I
agree.
will see. I think the Warriors, for me, the Warriors, I think, and Zach LaVine is going to end up making the most sense, and it wouldn't surprise me if they go like if Zach LaVine gets traded, I think it would probably be to the Warriors. But if he doesn't get traded, and the Warriors are really fiending for a trade, maybe they get Jimmy Butler. But I'm kind of cooling off all that. It doesn't seem like the Warriors are as interested in Jimmy as I would have hoped they would have been, in terms of like
Hmm.
creating a market there.
No, yeah, I, I think something I want to say is I was about to throw out a prediction, but one thing I have to apologize to Jalen Johnson and to DeJounte Murray for is last podcast I said how lucky is it that we haven't had any All-Star adjacent
Oh
level
yeah,
season and injuries. So I'm
that's
sorry.
hilarious.
I'm sorry, guys. It hadn't happened before, and then I said it, and then not only did that happen, but AD is now hurt, and LaMelo Ball got hurt, and I don't think those will be for the full season, but knock on wood, I guess. Um, but yeah, I just feel bad about that. But
What was your prediction?
my prediction is that I think this is going to be now a super spicy trade deadline because I think this is just a combination of this changes the landscape in the West, plus it kind of I feel like it just kind of shocked some teams into going, oh, we can do stuff now. Is gonna
I
I think
hope
we're going to
so.
see a lot of moves. For this week, I think this is going to really heat up the trading deadline.
I hope
Um,
so. And also, I mean, hopefully some teams are like, oh, there's more of a window in the West now. Like the Mavericks are no longer the same level contender as I thought they were before.
right. And the Lakers are more of a contender, but how much more of a contender? So I think you went from the Mavs.
If I'm any
Yeah.
of these teams in the Western Conference and I end up buying, I'll probably feel pretty good about being better than Lakers, you know?
Yes. Yeah.
But yeah.
Um,
I love Levine to the Warriors, by the way. I love that fit. I really hope it happens.
that would be a great fit. He's shooting. He's having a career shooting season from three, and Lord knows Steph. Steph for the last 2 3 years has just needed a second guy. Like, get that man some help.
And Levine's doing this as the alpha primary scorer, right? So it's like
Right.
kind of nice. And it's a really good, perfect fit for like a Klay Thompson replacement, pretty much. Like
Yeah.
frankly. Plays really
Yeah.
similar role, shoots the rock a ton,
Hmm.
doesn't need the ball a ton. Really good fit.
Hmm.
Which is funny because Levine was probably a negative asset a year and a half ago, and he just played him like this season where he's basically 40, 50, 80, 40, 50, 90.
It's incredible.
Just played himself into being like a pretty good asset. Not like a that good of an asset, let's be clear, but yeah.
No, but very good asset. All-star Jason. I mean, I think I had him as an all-star
Adam is
in the
also I was shocked he
East.
didn't make it,
Yeah,
honestly. Did you see
I know.
LaMelo didn't make it?
Oh, dude. Well, I don't know if yeah, yeah. I have a snub list. LaMelo, Booker, Kyrie, Zach LaVine, Tyrese Maxey, Norm Powell, Sabonis, Fox, Trae Young. And that's not
Three Cavaliers was crazy. You're telling me
three.
Garland is better than Max has having a better season than Maxi? Like respectfully, I don't know.
And this goes back to my annoying take, or my annoyed take about how
Mhm.
we need more all-star slots. Like, also, this isn't featuring Luka, Embiid, Chet, Ja, Paolo, Kawhi, or Franz, who are all injured. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 players who easily could have been all-star level guys. And then 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 guys, if not for injuries, which there's always going to be injuries. So it's fine. Um, but they need to change this. They need to expand it. You need Devin
Yeah.
Booker in the All-Star game. You need LaMelo Ball in the All-Star game. He's a perfect All-Star game player.
Got the most votes out of Eastern guards. And he
Yeah.
didn't make the All-Star. Like, you know, fan vote shouldn't mean everything, but like, damn. Like, come on now.
Yeah.
Um, I think it's kind of all I agree, by the way, on the expanding the All-Star rosters. I think that's kind of all I got, by the way, for
Yeah.
on all this. I
This
mean,
count, dude. Yeah.
I'm still reeling. Honestly, I'm still like reeling from like this Luka trade. Like my brain is scattered, if you can tell by my first half of the podcast today.
This is nuts. Um,
This will be a like league affecting trade for you. Like this is just change the course of the next 15 years for two franchises.
yeah, yeah. This is, oh, bro, this is crazy. Shout out Max Christie. Welcome to the Mavs.
Making it
The
happen.
Mavs got their guy,
They're gonna be so
and
mid,
the
man. They're gonna be
and the
so mid.
Jazz got more, and the Jazz got more picks.
Yeah, two certain. And Jalen Hood, former first, who's terrible by the way.
Yeah,
Didn't the Lakers pass on Jaime Jaquez to pick him? Or
crazy,
pass on Pods to pick him?
crazy. Yeah, yuck.
Anyways.
But you know what? They, between the Mavs and Hawks 2019 draft night trade, it was the Lakers that won.
Yeah, clearly. Apparently.
It was the
Crazy shit, man.
Lakers. Yeah.
Anyways, you want to take us away?
Yeah, baby. Thanks all for hopping on and listening to this emergency podcast. Curious to hear what your guys' takes are. Do you think that we should be as down on the Mavs? Are we just going with the classic narratives here? What do people think the Mavs ceiling is? What do we think the Lakers ceiling is for this season? How's it going to look going forward? What do people think LeBron's going to end up? Where do you think? How does this change for the rest of the league? Where are they going to go? We're going to have a guest on pretty soon. Talk about some fantasy basketball, which we had earlier before as the season started. Jason, we're looking forward to having you on, my man. Y'all be easy. Enjoy this Sunday. There's a lot of good hoops on today, so I hope you guys take a chance and watch some of your favorite teams play. So we'll be back soon, and as always, we'll be chilling here. Spin hoops, baby. I'll at you.
Peace out.